Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the NLC India Limited Q2 FY22 results conference call, hosted by DAM Capital Advisors Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital Advisors Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Faizan. On behalf of DAM Capital, I welcome you all to the NLC Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. We have with us Shri Rakesh Kumar, CMD, along with the senior management team of NLC India Limited. Without delay, I would like to hand over the call to the management for the opening remarks, followed by Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mohit Kumar ji. I am Rakesh Kumar, CMD NLC India Limited, and joining you for this call from Neyveli, along with Shri R. Vikraman, Director HR, Additional Charge Mines, and Shri Shajis John, Director Power, and Shri Jay Kumar Srinivasan, Director Finance, Additional Charge Director PNP, along with the senior officials of NLCIL. I welcome you all for this conference call and would like to mention few highlights of the quarter and half year ending September 30th, 2021. First highlight is standalone power generation during the half year ended 30th September 2021 is 13,043 million unit as against 9,490 million unit in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 37%. Consolidated power generation during the half year ended 30th September 21 is 15,619 million unit as against 12,100 million unit in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 29%. Renewable energy power generation during the half year ended 30th September 21 is 1,177 million unit as against 1,075 million unit in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 10%. Renewable project CUF during the half year ended 30th September is 17.81% as against 16% in the corresponding period of the previous year. Lignite sales during the half year ended 30th September 2021 is 18 lakh as against 8 lakh in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 130%. On commissioning of Talabira coal mines, coal sales during the half year ended 30th September 2021 is 19 lakh ton with revenue addition of rupees 248 crore. Robust collection of dues resulting in reduction of debtors by 48% from rupees 9,249 crore on 30th September 2020 to rupees 4,895 crore on 30th September 21. We have also bagged 510 megawatt solar power project from IREDA under 5,000 megawatt CPSU scheme stage 2 tranche 3 scheme, and we have as we intimated earlier also bagged 150 megawatt wind solar hybrid project under tariff based competitive bidding from SECI. And some key highlights of the financial performance of H1 21-22, that when we talk about the consolidated results, total income of the group during the half year ended 30th September 2021 is rupees 6,536 crore as against rupees 5,575 crore in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 17%. Profit after tax for the half year ended 30th September 2021 is rupees 555 crore as against rupees 405 crore in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 37%. Standalone financial highlights: total income of the company for the half year ended 30th September 21 is rupees 5,377 crore as against rupees 4,236 crore in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 27%. Profit before tax, before exceptional items for the half year ended 30th September is rupees 1,305 crore as against rupees 690 crore in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 89%. Profit after tax for the half year ended 30th September 21 is rupees 567 crore as against rupees 313 crore in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering a growth of 81%. So I invite you for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Subhra Dwivedi from SBI Life. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, thanks for taking my question. Just if you can elaborate more on how this reduction of debtors happened. So you had received around 4,000 crores, I think, in the last financial year as a part of the first tranche of Atmanirbhar package. And so this year till date, how much you have received, and if there is any further amount that you're expecting to receive?
Yeah, thank you for your question. This is Director of Finance Srinivasan. In fact, as has been told in the highlights by the CMD, that there has been a record collection. If you consider the position as on 30th September last year, the arrears amount was 9,249 crores. And this has been brought down to 4,895 crores as on 30th September 2021. Now, this has been partly because of the Atmanirbhar scheme that was introduced by the central government, where we have collected 3,912 crores additionally for NLC, and another 1,200 was for the NTPL thing. So total, if you consider NLC plus NTPL, we had a collection of 5,133 under Atmanirbhar during the last year, that is 2021. During the current year, up till date, 2,041 has been collected under Atmanirbhar for NLC and another 296 crores for NTPL, which is totaling to 2,357. So a total amount of 7,762 is the collection under Atmanirbhar if you consider NLC plus NTPL. Apart from this, we had also supported our beneficiaries in terms of giving them the option of paying under the bill discounting. And if you take this 2 years into consideration, we started off modestly in the 1920. There was a collection of 637 under bill discounting. During 2021, 1,541, and during the year 21-22, we were able to rope in even the other beneficiary from Karnataka and Telangana. So the total gross was 2,497 for during the current. So a total of 4,676 crores have been collected under bill discounting. Similarly, NTPL was able to collect 956 under the bill discounting scheme. So this, together with the Atmanirbhar scheme, has helped us to boost up our collection. The collection efficiency, for instance, of NLC for 2021 was 117%, and during the current year up to September, I believe it is 126%. So similarly for NTPL, the collection efficiency has been 185%. So all this put together, we have collected the dues to a great extent. And if you talk about the dues as on date, give me a second, please. 4,931 is the NLC dues as on 31st October. Out of this, 1,302 crores is dues which are below 45 days, which means that giving them, it is not due. So normally after billing, we give them a 45 days grace period. So if you take a snapshot of 31st October, 1,302 was not due, less than 45 days. So the net dues is around 3,629. We are following different options for getting this. One is helped by some of the notifications and guidelines of the Ministry of Power. More so from the month of February, the beneficiary DISCOMs are being increasingly pushed to be very compliant in payment because of linking the scheduling of power to both default in payment and also for maintenance of letter of credit. So this has also helped us to deal with the current dues. If you singularly take the current dues, they have more or less everybody is paying the current dues barring one or two DISCOMs. And as far as the past dues are concerned, a predominant amount of the past dues have been collected. And balance is some of the dues which are subject matter of determination either at the appellate tribunal. Some of this they are trying to get some kind of installment. So we are in touch with all the DISCOMs to find a way to get this amount also. Thank you.
So summarily, supported by the Atmanirbhar scheme and some reforms in the regulatory framework and constant continuous pursuing, monitoring and taking up the issues of dues with the beneficiaries top management, the situation is significantly improved.
Thank you so much, sir, for the detailed answer.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of VK Sonthalia from VK Associates. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon and wish you a very good set of numbers. Congratulations for that. My question, from the 1st of October, government has allowed 50% sale of coal from captive coal mines. And under the scheme, how much coal has been sold by NLC in the month of October and November, and at what price? And is this trend likely to continue in the coming month? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I will request that mines in charge to respond to you.
Thank you very much for your question. Actually, the enablement is 50% of the coal produced, total coal produced, after the end use consumption. It is not that a total mandate is being given. However, we have taken the approval of the Ministry of Coal for going beyond the 50% also depending upon our production. So as such, after the issue of this amendment and enablement, we have gone for a sale of around 5 lakh tons, keeping the production target up to March into account. So the maximum base price which it fetched is rupees 1,884 plus taxes and other duties as is applicable. So we'll be, depending upon our further production ramping up as required for the power sector, any additional coal available after meeting the end use requirement and power sector will again be sold through the auction in the another tranche. Hope it meets your requirement.
Yes, sir. In the month of October, 1 million tons was sold through e-auction, and in the month of November, 500,000 tons was sold through e-auction. In addition, 1 lakh tons of lignite was sold in month of October, and in month of November also 1 lakh tons of lignite was sold. So all these sales were under this scheme, or were it outside this scheme, sir?
So as far as lignite is concerned, it is within that scheme because we got enough cushion. What against our production, this 1 lakh ton or 2 lakh ton in the month of October and November are well within that. We have not got any additional or special permission. As regards coal sale is concerned, it is well within this enablement. We have done in the month of November only 5 lakh tons, and October we have not done any coal sale.
Although we issued the notice, but
We have not done that.
that was deferred, and then we reduced it from
7 lakh to 5 lakh.
1.1 million to 0.5 million. Yeah.
So, sir, in the coming months, as you ramp up the production in Talabira coal mines, these quantities which are sold through e-auction, are they likely to increase in coming months, maybe in 2-3 quarters? And once the Talabira power project comes into play, will you be having any spare coal to sell through these e-auctions?
As of now, we cannot have prediction, but we are trying our level best to ramp up the production. We will be having a clear picture in the coming weeks.
So once the Talabira power project comes into operation in maybe 2024, and once the UP government project also comes into operation, will you be having spare coal to sell through these e-auctions, or will you be able to use the entire coal produced?
Talabira power project is not likely to come up by 2022 because still the tendering is in the advanced stage.
No, you are giving date of 2024, so I am referring to 2024.
It may go up to 2026, and once it comes up, we are not envisaging surplus coal. In the initial period only, we may be having surplus coal.
Okay. And when is the UP power project likely to be come into operation?
UP power project, Ghatampur power project is progressing. We are closer to the first unit commissioning. However, there have been some delays witnessed recently. Our Director Power has visited the site, and he has taken a review of the project. I'll hand over to Director Power now.
Thank you. This is Shaji John, Director Power.
Yes, sir.
As CMD was telling, there are some technical delays on the project, but otherwise we are planning to come with the first unit commissioning. We were targeting by end of March. Some delays are there, but still we are confident we will be doing the synchronizing sometimes in February or March. Though the commissioning may get a little more delayed because there are certain more works to be completed in the coal landing plant as well as the railway siding. So maybe the commissioning will get another 2-3 months or so delayed. However, we are hopeful of doing the synchronization of the unit by maybe in the month of February, March 2022. That is next year.
Oh, that's very good. Congratulations. So one more last question. The coal requirement for this UP power project has been tied up with Coal India Limited, or will the Talabira or NLC be supplying coal to this UP power project?
The coal for the Ghatampur Thermal Power Plant, the linked mine is already there, the South Pachwara coal block. There the mining activities, we are in the on the stage of the progress, but it may take another 3 or 4 years to commit it into full-fledged. Okay. Till that time, for the Ghatampur Thermal Power Project, we will be meeting coal requirement from our Talabira project, Talabira mines. Yes, but initial commissioning stage, we have already got tie-up from Coal India Limited for the commissioning activities. We have got sufficient coal for initial commissioning of all the 3 units. And further, when the unit goes into operational stage for the initial years, we will be sourcing it from Talabira, and later on we will be moving on to the linked mine, that is the Pachwara South Coal Block.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of N.M. Modi, from individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Sir, my query was regarding insurance claim. What is the latest situation, sir, over there?
Yeah, good evening, Modi ji. Insurance claim, still the claims are under process. We have claimed for incident 1 on 7th May, incident insurance claim to the tune of 76 crore, and incident 2 on 1st July 2020, the claim lodged by us was to the tune of 177.62 crore. Insurance company has although acknowledged the claim to the extent of 50 crore only, and we have received 9.5 crore so far, but we are pursuing and we are making efforts to get the claim realized.
The matter is moving, sir, very slow, in my opinion, sir.
Insurance claims processing is the very slow process. We are trying to take up the case with their senior management also. We are expediting it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Modi, is that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of J.K. Jain from J.K. Jain and Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Congratulations for a very good set of numbers. One thing I want to get clarification about this transfer pricing for the, because your company have got a mining as well as power producer. So how this transfer pricing is being done? Whether it is at the market related rate or is there any system, because these power rates are fixed under regulatory system. So how these are calculated? Can you give some brief idea?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. J.K. Jain. Thank you very much for your question. Our lignite and coal are under the regulatory jurisdiction, and CRC is the authority to decide the transfer pricing. For lignite, already the draft regulation is already issued, and based on that we were advised to file the petition. We have sought more time because our truing up has not been finalized for the previous 5-year period. So on that, CRC has granted us the time extension, and for coal we are in the process of preparing our petition, and soon we will be filing the same with CRC.
So that means both are separate businesses. While calculating the rate for your power, there is one transfer pricing for lignite and power coal to the power producer, and then because recently the coal prices has gone up, coal and lignite prices has gone up manifold. I would say at least 100% price rise. So whether that will benefit the company or no, that's not going to make any difference to the profitability of the NLC.
To the extent of the coal which is tied up for the end-use plants, in case of Talabira mines at present NTPL plant, coal pricing will be regulated as per the regulation. However, for the surplus coal which is sold in the market, we are getting a higher price. As our Director Mines Additional Charge, Vikramanji has informed, we have recently sold 5 lakh ton of coal at 1,884 rupees.
So in a nutshell, it means that with the increase in prices of lignite and coal, the company is not going to get benefit out of it. If a layman understanding, because the lignite and coal prices has gone up, if it is consumed electricity producer.
So long as the coal and lignite is used for our own captive plants, we are using and selling the power, we are getting benefited by way of competitive tariff, because we don't have to procure lignite and coal from any other source. But as far as sale of lignite and coal is concerned, we are able to realize the market price for the surplus coal and lignite sold in the market.
So what will be the difference if the competitive rate, or in a nutshell, whether the company is going to get additional benefit because of this price rise of lignite or things, or it's as usual, business is as usual for you?
Yeah, and Director of Finance, please.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting question. See, as per the CRC terms and conditions of tariff, you have as you rightly said, there are different set of norms. One for purely determining the tariff for your thermal plants, and more recently, CRC has also stipulated how for an integrated plant like NLC or elsewhere, how in integrated plant, what would be the methodology for calculation. So we will be going as per that. So the transfer prices basically will be determined on a cost plus basis, applying some prudence check. So that explains the business as a usual scenario. But your next question was whether there is some arbitrage opportunity in case you are selling this surplus coal or surplus lignite. Let me come to coal plus. Helped by this recent enablement about selling surplus coal. Look, right now, the Talabira is the only plant, the only mine owned by NLC Captive Mines. So predominantly it is to be used for one of the running plant, which is Thoothukudi in Tamil Nadu, 1000 megawatt, and for the upcoming plant, which is the project, for a project under formulation. However, meanwhile, if there are some surplus production and we sell it, definitely the company will be benefited by that. But some of the proportionate benefit should also be passed on to the end-use plant. So in that sense, some part of the benefit will definitely improve the company's bottom line, and some of it will again be helpful in reducing the tariff for the end-use plant, which would stand competitively in the merit order dispatch. As far as lignite is concerned, yes, lignite again, in case of lesser usage for the end-use plant because of surrender by the beneficiary due to lesser demand, because we cannot stock the lignite beyond a certain point. We may be not by design but by default sometimes we are forced to sell this, and whatever is the price which we get, that could be benefit, again improve the company's bottom lines.
In any case, there is no question of any super profit because of these price rises of coal and lignite. That in a nutshell one can say. A company like you.
See, in fact, in a cost plus regime, there is no avenue for super profits. There are some incidental profits because we have not bagged any of this project on a competitive bidding basis. So the whole philosophy, underpinning philosophy of a cost plus is you should get your cost reasonably, and there are some efficiency norms you should meet even to get entitled to that cost plus.
Yeah, and
I would like to mention here that CRC has issued the lignite price guidelines in September 2021, in which they have reduced the return on equity from 15.5% to 14%, as we requested for 15.5%. So they have reduced the return on equity.
So that way the profit may come down.
Yeah, slightly it will have impact on our profit, yes.
So because there are a lot of issues are pending for last 5 years, the rate fixations and all these things. So ultimately, when all these are fixed, you are going to get back some money, or you have to refund all the money already realized?
No, in regulatory business, especially in power sector, as you know that the petitions are taking a longer time. Sometimes, fixing the lignite price for the period 2014 to 19, the price was finally decided in 2017. So it took more than 2 years, 2.5 years. So this is a cycle, and we cannot say that what will be the net outcome, because whatever claims we have lodged, petitions we have put up, and in case of any disputes, that fight is going on. Some cases are pending in CRC, some are in APTEL, and then accordingly, based on the outcome, we will come to know whether it is a gain or a loss. In some cases, as far as our accounting is concerned, we have adopted a conservative accounting, that based on the outcome of any decision of the regulatory body, CRC or APTEL, we align our accounts accordingly. So to that extent, it is conservative.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shyam Karwa from Karwa Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chief.
Yeah. In the month of October, there was an e-auction planned for 11 lakh tons of coal. But as you have told recently, it was cancelled, and in November 5 lakh tons, new tender was floated. Okay, if I understood correctly.
I just wanted to inform you that I said that this 11 lakh tender was deferred and finally reduced from 11 lakh to 5 lakh.
Okay. Means the surplus coal which we are selling, it has been reduced from 11 to 5 lakh.
No, it is not like that. Although the production of coal has ramped up dramatically, last financial year, we have produced only to the extent of 1 million ton, whereas in this financial year, although our mining plan was mentioning 4 million ton, we enhanced the internal target in the initial of the year itself to 6 million ton. But keeping in view the coal crisis in the country, we have augmented our production. For 1 million ton, if you see, the average will be something like 3,000 to 4,000 ton per day. But now at present, we have ramped up to 30,000 ton, up to 30,000 ton also per day. And we have started giving coal to NTPC recently, just to tide over the situation.
So that may be the reason for reduction in the auction volume, I think.
Yeah, so depending upon the situation, we will come out with the future auctions also.
So, sir, this sale of coal to NTPC, how the rate is determined?
Presently, the coal is supplied to NTPC. The rate is under finalization. It started for tidying up over the situation. So that rate and other terms conditions are still in the process of firming up.
Okay, so I presume it will not be at the market determined rates.
We are talking to them. Of course, it cannot be at market related, but we will see what can.
Okay, sir. In that case, my next question is just in quarter 3 and quarter 4. What is your feeling? How much coal we are expected to sell in the market through e-auctions? Any idea?
As of now, we are not having a clear picture, because we did not plan for this much of production And although we are trying to ramp up, it depends on how much enhanced production we are able to achieve, and depending upon that only, and how much NTPC is able to take under the arrangement. Based on that, we will be able to decide.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jamji.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dinesh Rao, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations on a strong set of numbers. My question is, sir, can you please explain me the capital expenditure that is required for the your planning for this year and in the next year? And also, can you give me an outlook on the performance, sir, for the next half year and also the next year, sir?
Thank you very much. Ramesh ji. Mr. Ramesh?
Dinesh.
Mr. Dinesh. Thank you very much, Mr. Dinesh, for your question. Our capital expenditure planned for the current year is 2,061 crore for various projects, and for the next year we have formed up our capex plan to the tune of around 3,000 crore. So, and the second question, you said that what is the outcome? What is the outlook for the next half of the current financial year?
Yes.
So, looking to the changes in the environment, our annual plan is now changed because the numbers have changed because of the ramping up of the coal production and ramping up of the power generation also. So we are in the process of formulating our revised budget. Still, the numbers have not yet been formed up.
Okay, sir. Sir, actually, according to your 5-year plan, can I know the is the capex being met to that plan, or is it deviating from that plan? On your website, the corporate plan is that of NLC India Limited.
Yeah, you are right that we had made a very ambitious corporate plan to have an outlay of 1,29,000 crore for a period of 10 years. Although in the initial years of that plan, which started in 2015, we could ramp up our capex from 1,500 level to 6,000 crore, 7,000 crore also. But after exhausting our resources, we were looking for equity, and that could not be arranged. And but at the same time, the scenario in the country has also changed. Thermal power stations and greenfield project of thermal power have been facing the challenges, and we face the concern of the beneficiaries on account of higher tariff and the cost of the project also. Therefore, these uncertainties have changed our plan, and we have mellowed down. We have reduced our pace for the time being, and we are now gearing up to enter into renewable and firming up our corporate plan after a review.
Okay, thank you, sir. Can you, as a request from my end, is can you get an updated plan of the corporate plan on the website?
Yeah, as soon as it is firmed up, we will post it on the website.
Thank you, sir. One more question is, sir, what is the debt obligation, sir, during this year and during the next year?
Debt obligation during the current year. You want to know during the current year?
Yeah. Current year and term loan repayments during the current year and the next year, sir.
Yeah. So During the current year, our repayment is to the extent of 1,692 crore, and next year also it is in the same range because we are not changing any debt plan so far. Of course, in case we go for solar project execution, depending upon the additional loan taken, we will be having, but repayment will not get affected, but interest will be paid.
Great. Okay. Thank you, sir. And sir, one more doubt query is that how will the capex be funded, sir? The planned capex that you have told me just now. How will it? What is the?
These capex plans which we are preparing, these will be funded only by way of internal generation and loan arrangement.
As per the debt equity plan ratio.
Debt equity plan, yes, depending upon what mix we have considered for bidding of the solar, based on that we will be adopting the debt equity ratio.
As per the rating report, there's a 15,000 crores of capex is planned in the next 3 years. So if you take roughly 4,500 crores per annum, so will that be able to be achieved, sir?
This 15,000 crore capex in the next 3 years is after envisaging the award of Talabira Pithead Power Plant and solar projects. And in case these are awarded, before awarding we will have a tie-up, we will have a clarity as to how the funding will take place. We will commit only after having the financial closure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for a detailed explanation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dinesh ji.
Thank you. The next question is a follow-up question from the line of J.K. Jain from J.K. Jain and Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for giving me another opportunity. This is in response to your reply to a question that you are giving coal to NTPC, and the price is not yet determined. But as per Income Tax Act and other regulatory authorities, you have to sell goods at arm's length price. So you can't sell you have to sell at a market related. The coal prices has to be market related. You can't,
yes,
because both are different companies. Both are different companies. Shareholders are different. So when the opportunity is there to have a good price of coal, so the shareholders of NLC should get good price. If the prices come down, you are not going to get the benefit of that.
Yes, Mr. Jain, thank you very much for your question. We understand, and this coal was given to, we commenced supply of coal to NTPC on the advice of Government of India to tide over the situation. And as you are aware that there was a coal crisis, and there are two NTPC power plants nearby, which could be given additional coal from this mine. Therefore, this decision was taken, and we are very much conscious to this fact that this pricing should be at arm's length. There are various considerations. This extra permission of extra coal is given by Government of India in order to tide over this situation. So we have to take a call. We have to be guided by Government of India also in this regard. We will take a prudent decision in this regard.
Further to it, because this has become now custom, because when earlier there used to be government subsidy of oil sectors and all these sectors. Today the steel prices are quite high. So when you are buying steel from sale, they are not going to give you at their cost price. So I put my opposition to this fact that why a shareholder is not is put at a loss, because NTPC is also going to make a lot of money out of the electricity generated. The Steel Authority is also making a lot of money. Tata Steel is also making a lot of money. Why NLC? Why NLC? Because the shareholders, the price at point of time was 170 rupees. Today the price is 45 rupees. Still the price of NLC has not increased to that extent, whereas the prices of other power companies like Tata Power has increased from 40 rupees to 250 rupees. So it is also your duty as a CMD that you should put your opposition to all these things. Let it be as a market related prices.
Mr. Jain, I just want to inform you that we are conscious of this aspect, and we are already discussing with NTPC to have a swapping arrangement of coal for our NTPL plant, which will help us to get cheaper coal, because otherwise 30% of the NTPL requirement was required to be fulfilled by imported coal, which is very, very costly. So we are conscious about this, and we will do our best in this regard.
Another thing is because this company has not earlier it used to pay a dividend of 7 rupees, 8 rupees. Previous year they have reduced to 2 rupees. So because you have got a lot of payments from debtors and all these things, so the company must be thinking about some interim dividend or buyback of shares. Is there any plan from that, or you are asking the government to put some plan for that purpose?
Yeah, very good question, Mr. Jain. You are right that last year we paid only total dividend of 25% as against 70.6% in 1920 and 48.28% in 1819. So this reduction in dividend has happened because
Ladies and gentlemen, the line for the management has got disconnected. Request you all to please stay online while we reconnect them. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently waiting. The line for the management is reconnected. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
thank you very much. I apologize that this call got disconnected. Yeah, you're right that we have been paying dividend at a higher level. Only last year, because of the COVID impact as well as two fire incidents, our production and top and bottom line got affected. Therefore, we decided to at least give 25% dividend. But this being a normal year, normal practice will be resumed.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, sir. And so a few questions from my side. So what are the under recovery in H1 FY22? And do you think that you can reduce the under recovery in the H2 FY22? And related question is that how was the path for, especially for the NLC 1000 megawatt new power plant on the standalone? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mohit ji. Under recovery in the first half of the current financial year is 243.30 crore as against 358.79 crore in the last year. We are trying reduce the recoveries in the second half further. I would like Director Power to comment on that.
Yeah, Mr. Mohit, as we can see in the first half, the under recovery on account of fixed charges, we are improving very well. For example, some of the units I can share with you, our TPS2 units. At the incident the last year, we have almost made the under recovery zero on the low demand season. Yes, some under recovery was there on the high demand season, that is for the month of April. That is only there, which we are hopeful we will be able to make up in the remaining period of the high demand season, that is February, March of 2022. Similarly, for TS1 expansion, another unit also, our availability is well above the normative levels, by which we are able to get the 100% availability on low demand season. There also on the high demand period, some under recovery is there, which we will be making up in the remaining 2 months period of the high demand season, that in this financial year itself. As far as our Barsingsar unit is concerned, yes, there is under recovery on account of fixed charges, but the positive thing about the Barsingsar unit is that this year we have already taken the overallings of these units, and the breakdowns of these Barsingsar unit has also drastically come down. So the under recovery for the remaining period of this financial year, we will find that we are expecting that the availability will increase, and the under recovery on account of the fixed charges will be further reduced. And NNTPS, the new units, which was another question from your end. The first half we had taken up the overallings of these units, NNTPS also. And there were some issues which was related to, which was a consequential follow-up, we can say, some of the teething problems of unit number 2, which was commissioned in the month of February this year only. So in the first few months, naturally, certain issues which were there were reasons for some shutdowns or some breakdowns. And apart from that, certain vital equipments like some water lamps, etc., were to be commissioned. That also has been commissioned now. So in the next half, we are hopeful we will be improving upon the performance of our NNTPS, that is the new 2 into 500 megawatt units, because now we are able to run both the units at full load. except for TPS2 expansion, where we are having the problems of the CFBC unit, still we have to come out of that problem. We are working on it. All other units, we are in a comfortable position now. We have carried out most of the overhaulings, and the second half, we are expecting the availability factor to increase. And once the availability increases, naturally, the under recovery which might be coming on account of additional, let us say, on increase of APC or a specific consumption, these also will reduce, and the under recovery will be coming in control. Thank you.
And regarding the 1000 megawatt lignite-based power plant in Neyveli, NNTPS, which Mohitji wanted to know what is the performance. We have generated 3,143.14 million unit and exported 2,740.21, and we have achieved the PLF of 71.57%, EAF of 73.90%, and it has resulted in a profit before tax to the tune of 146.25 crore.
Secondly, sir, on the mining, the EBIT, the mining EBIT has jumped very sharply in the quarter. Is there any one-off, or do you think this is the rate which we can maintain for the next few quarters? Mining EBIT, mining, yeah.
Yeah, EBIT mining. It has decreased because but EBIT has increased.
Yes, yes, EBIT increased sharply, right?
Sharply, yeah, because of our ramping up of the Talabira coal production.
Okay. Okay, understood, sir. Third one, so what is the capex plan for FY22 and FY23? What is the kind of capex you are envisaging at this point of time, and how much you have done in H1 FY22?
So, capex plan, although we are trying to get more projects, and depending upon winning the project in the tenders, SECI tender, IREDA tender for solar, and depending upon the outcome and feasibility of the Talabira pithead power plant, we will be able to have a clear picture of the capex for the next 2 years. However, as of now, we have formulated our plan for the next year to the tune of 3,000 crore.
Okay, and have you done any capex in H1 FY22?
Yeah, H1, yeah, we have already, against our target of 887.90 crore, we have incurred an expenditure of 1,292.82 crore.
How much expect in the second half, sir, H2?
H2, we are having a plan of 2,061 crore. We will be able to achieve this expenditure.
Okay. Sir, and one, how much has been the investment in NLC Ghatampur till date?
Yeah, in case of Ghatampur project, so far we have incurred an expenditure of 12,536 crore.
And what is the overall investment required?
Total sanctioned cost is 17,237 crore estimate, and against which we have incurred 12,536.6.
How much is equity invested, sir? Equity invested from our side, from our balance sheet?
Yeah, out of this, 30% equity, which is to be shared by UPRVNL and NLC. We have invested equity of 2,000 crore approximately.
20 billion. Sir, sir, is there any plan to monetize our asset key under national monetization plan? Do we have any such target in the next few years? And what are the renewables EBITDA in H1 FY22, and how much is the installed capacity at this point of time? That's the last question, sir. Yeah.
For Talabira mine?
No, sir. My question was, sir, is there any asset monetization plan we have?
Yeah, asset monetization. Actually, we are in discussion with the ministry, and as of now, two mines of NLC have been identified, NLC and NABPL, Talabira and South Pachwara. And these mines are already on the MDO mode, and the expenditure investment by MDO is considered for the monetization purposes, and we are on the right track. There will not be much change in our business operations and processes and structure due to the monetization program.
Is there any plan to monetize renewables separately?
We are discussing. We have obtained the approval for formation of two subsidiaries for solar, and the proposal has already been sent to Government of India for consideration. Based on the approval, we will be progressing further.
So lastly, sir, what was the renewables EBITDA in H1 FY22? Do we have this number right now with you? Renewables EBITDA in H1 FY22.
Yeah, DF sir, you would like to mention?
155 crores was the half year result.
Profit before tax.
PBT. Okay, sir. And what will be the depreciation and interest?
Just to add, this compares favorably. Last year it was 94.71, so there's 50% growth in there.
So do you have the EBITDA number, sir, by any chance?
We can probably follow it up to you.
Sure, sir. I will take it offline, sir. Offline. So with that, sir, we have come to the close of the conference, sir. Do we have any closing remarks, sir?
Yeah, thank you so much for the interest shown. We value our investors, and as we are progressing on the mining front and power generation, in the time to come, we will continue to focus on our projects and excellence in operations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of DAM Capital Advisors Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.